Welcome to the deep dive. Now, when you hear the name Manute Bol, your mind probably jumps straight to the height. Right, 7'7" inches.
Yeah, that towering figure. He really changed how people even thought about what a basketball player could look like.
Exactly. And he was often talked about as, well, almost a curiosity in the NBA, a statistical anomaly. But if we really dig into the material, what you find is a person whose huge physical size was actually kind of overshadowed by the moral weight he carried.
Yeah, the weight of his people's hopes, their suffering, it's immense.
That's really the heart of our deep dive today, isn't it?
It is. We want to look way beyond the stats, the blocks, the performance on the court. Our goal here is to really analyze Manute Bol's incredible resilience, his profound sacrifice, which cost him so much, and that unexpected political conviction.
Right.
Really defined his life much more than any basketball game he ever played. He wasn't just tall, he was a giant in the truest sense. And he used that height as a platform.
A platform for global change, yeah. And what's so striking right from the start is how that very height, the thing that defined him physically, it was initially seen as this huge burden, almost a weakness, a limitation by many.
Absolutely.
Yet somehow he was destined to rewrite what it means to stand tall. He used that very perception as, the foundation for his legacy.
To really get that burden, you have to go back to his origins.
Yeah, tell us about that.
We're talking Turalai, a really remote village in what was then southern Sudan, home of the Dinka people.
And the Dinka are known for being incredibly tall.
Exactly, one of the tallest groups in the world. And in that community, height wasn't just normal, it was celebrated, seen as a symbol of strength.
A land of giants, basically.
Literally, yeah. His dad was nearly 7 feet tall, his mother close to 6.5. But even there, among giants, Bol stood out. Well, not in a way that signaled traditional strength. His huge frame was incredibly thin, almost fragile, and his knees, they were just too delicate for the hard physical work expected of a young Dinka man. Things like cattle herding, farming.
So he's this giant, but marked by what his culture might see as weakness.
Yeah.
He's towering over everyone, but his body can't do the tasks that defined manhood there.
Right. The material suggests that for some in his community, his extreme height was almost viewed as, well, a curse, a vulnerability.
Wow.
Definitely extraordinary, but also uniquely vulnerable. And then you have this almost unbelievable transition.
To America.
Yeah. This fragile young man who grew up playing soccer with makeshift balls made of bundled rags.
Right.
Suddenly gets scouted and flown to the United States in the early 80s to play basketball, a game he barely knew.
You really can't overstate the culture shock there. I mean, just try to imagine moving from a remote village, no electricity, no paved roads.
Life running on these ancient rhythms.
Yeah. And suddenly you're dropped into the, quote, neon-lit world of America. It's not just changing countries, it's like jumping centuries.
And the isolation must have been crushing.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Totally. He barely spoke any English. He was mocked for his broken vocabulary. People already stared because of his height. But now he was culturally, linguistically, just utterly alone in this alien place. It wasn't just a tough adjustment. It sounds like a constant, exhausting struggle just to survive and figure things out.
Definitely. Learning a whole new world while carrying all the expectations from his old one.
And yet somehow he pushes through. He gets onto the court, drafted in '85 by the Washington Bullets. At 7'7", he knew he couldn't play like the other stars. He wasn't the fastest, not the strongest. And his offense, well, it often struggled.
But he had that one physical advantage that was completely unique.
His height.
Exactly. And he used it to become this incredible defensive force.
A unique weapon. That's a good way to put it.
It really was. His presence near the basket just changed the game.
Yeah.
And his success on court, it was pretty immediate and historic, mostly because he accepted the role he was, well, physically built for.
Right.
Think about this stat. In his rookie season alone, he recorded a staggering 397 blocked shots.
Wow.
That's almost 5 per game. That's how he instantly made his mark on the NBA. Not by scoring points, but by just denying shots. Pure defensive gravity.
But the critics, they never really left him alone, did they?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
They constantly made fun of his physique, said he was too frail for the pro game, often just treated him like a sideshow, a novelty act.
He must have had incredible inner strength to deal with that constant doubt and judgment.
I think that's the key link,
Yeah.
Between his background and his basketball career, he wasn't just blocking shots on the court. Philosophically, you could say he was blocking doubts. The sources point out he proved you don't have to be great at everything.
Yeah.
You just need to find your unique strength. that one thing you can do better than anyone else and commit to it completely. He made history by being the absolute best at one specific, vital job.
And what I love, something that kind of humanizes this larger-than-life figure, is that even while he was revolutionizing defense, he had this sort of playful refusal to be completely boxed in. He'd occasionally launch these wild three-point shots.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes they'd go in, sometimes it was a dramatic air ball.
Right. It was great. He treated those threes like moments of just pure, defiant fun. When reporters asked him about it, he'd often joke he took them just to surprise people.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
It showed his sense of humor, and his refusal to let the critics define him only as a defender. It was his way of saying, yeah, I know my role, but I'm also here to enjoy this.
A bit of lightness.
Exactly. A bit of lightness in a life that was about to become incredibly heavy.
Because the NBA, that was just his stage for a little while. Right. Sudan. That was his constant, unrelenting focus. While the world was watching him block shots, his mind was back home.
Where his homeland was, as the sources say, drowning in civil war, facing terrible famine, unspeakable violence.
Yeah. And this is where the story pivots completely. From athlete to, well, humanitarian doesn't even quite capture it.
I bet so.
Unlike many athletes today who give back through, managed foundations or careful philanthropy, Bol felt this raw, overwhelming moral duty.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about a man who sent the majority of his NBA earnings, millions of dollars, back home.
Not just a portion, the majority.
The overwhelming bulk of it, to build schools, provide aid, help Dinka refugees fleeing the war.
And we should probably put that sacrifice in context, financially speaking.
Definitely. Bol had a relatively short NBA career, and he wasn't a max contract superstar.
Right.
So while he made millions, it wasn't the kind of astronomical money we see today. Sending most of that away meant he was knowingly sacrificing his entire future financial security, his stability after basketball.
How do you even rationalize giving away basically your entire personal future like that? How did he explain it?
He saw it in completely spiritual terms.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't really a choice for him, more like a calling, a mandate.
Mm-hmm.
He famously said, God made me tall so I could help my people.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball.
Yeah.
That was never the main goal for him. It was just the tool, the temporary means to save others.
But trying to...
He wanted to help immediately, and that urgency sometimes meant skipping the usual checks and balances.
That's a really important distinction, though. He didn't just sign a check and walk away.
No way.
He was personally invested in where every single dollar went, which ultimately cost him his own financial well-being. His measure of life was purely about impact, not his bank account.
Exactly. That incredible sacrifice is maybe the most powerful lesson from his life. The depth of what you give, especially when it costs you personally, that's what truly defines your legacy.
And as the war in Sudan dragged on, Bol realized that money, even millions, wasn't enough.
Right, his focus shifted. It went beyond just financial aid. He became deeply, actively political.
Using his fame.
Yes. Using his global platform to openly, loudly criticize the Sudanese government for the atrocities against his people. And this was incredibly dangerous work.
I can only imagine.
The regime knew exactly who he was, they knew what he was saying, but he just refused to be quiet. He basically transformed himself into this vital political voice.
Using his fame like a shield.
Precisely. He became, as one source described him, a soldier without a gun. He lobbied hard in Washington, D.C., meeting with politicians, talking to the media, pushing for sanctions, demanding more aid.
It shows you can fight these huge battles, these state-level conflicts, not just with weapons, but with courage, conviction, and a voice that people recognize globally.
Mm-hmm. He got the world's attention just by showing up and refusing to stop talking about the human cost of the war.
But that level of commitment, that fight, it eventually took its toll, didn't it?
It did. After his NBA career ended, he faced devastating financial ruin, directly because of his generosity and, frankly, some poor management of what little he had left.
And health.
His health suffered too, increasingly debilitating problems, mostly stemming from injuries he picked up during his playing days. It caught up to him.
It's just heartbreaking, isn't it? To think of this giant figure who gave away his future for others, ending his life with so little personal comfort.
It is. And yet, even near the end, when he was confined to hospital beds, dealing with chronic pain, he kept his dignity. He kept that famous stubborn sense of humor.
Really?
Yeah, he refused to let despair win. He'd still crack jokes, still talk about his faith. He held on to that joy. You know, the same kind he showed with those unexpected three-pointers, even when his own world was getting darker.
Manute Bol passed away in 2010. He was only 47 years old.
So young.
And while his son, Bol, carries the name in the NBA today, his real legacy, the most profound one, isn't really on a basketball court.
No, it echoes in Sudan. In the lives saved, the schools he built, the aid programs that his sacrifice funded, that's where you can actually touch his legacy.
So if we just step back and look at this whole deep dive, the lessons from Manute Bol's life are, well, they're pretty profound, and you can actually apply them.
Yeah.
First, remember that your weakness, the thing people might criticize you for, it can actually become your greatest strength if you find the courage to own it, to redefine it.
Absolutely. And second, you really don't need to be amazing at every single thing. Not at all. You just need to be masterful at what matters most. Find your unique purpose, that one thing you can do, and apply it completely.
And maybe the toughest lesson to really absorb: true success isn't measured by what you collect or keep safe for yourself. It's measured in the depth of what you're willing to give away, even if it costs you everything.
His life is just this stunning, high-stakes example of conviction and sacrifice. The material really hammers home that the greatest towers aren't built of steel and concrete. They're built of love, belief, and personal sacrifice.
Yeah.
Manute Bol's life is just definitive proof that even one person standing against odds that seem impossible, political, financial, can genuinely light the way for a whole nation.
Manute Bol didn't choose his height, did he? And he certainly didn't choose the horrific challenges his people faced.
Yeah.
But he chose, clearly and completely, he chose how to use his unique platform to help others, even knowing it would likely lead to his own ruin. And that leaves a really important question for you, the listener. What battles in your own life, big or small, are calling for your moral courage right now? And where in your current situation can you choose to stand taller, even if you feel totally unprepared for the challenge? That, I think, is the true measure of the gentle giant's enduring legacy.